Are you ready for the now to be exactly like this? So somehow all of you already see the now, isn't it? It's quite obvious. But human beings have additional capacity to narrow down the boundless seeing into a focus, and then to filter that focus, what is being seen through that focus, to filter it through all the belief systems, through all the conditionings, comparisons, memories of the past, ideas about the future. It's quite a job, isn't it? It's quite a job. It's quite a task. Because seeing is effortless. Obviously, all of you are already seeing the now. But your attention and focus is not placed on that simple seeing. Your attention and focus is contracted. It's focusing. There is a point of perception. We could say that is your mind's eye in the center of your forehead. And from that place, there is like this little lighthouse, like shining this beam of focus. So there is a point of focus, which is the relative subject, which you call the I. And then there is the whole process of filtering, comparisons, checking, validating according to your belief systems, interpreting, labeling. There's so much going on in this process. Sometimes worrying, or being stressed or anxious. So this is a big job. And I will tell you that this is additional. It's optional, actually. It's totally optional, but the average human person takes it for granted. That you have to understand, isn't it? You have to understand what's going on. You have to know what's going on. You have to believe in what I'm saying. You have to be careful, or be skeptical, or be trustworthy, or this or that. And it all comes in comparison to your past experiences, the filtering of the past. Seeing is simple. All of you are seeing this moment already. It's just that your seeing now is a bit limited. It's not free. It's not boundless yet, but recognize this, that you are seeing already. And I'm not asking what are you seeing. I'm saying you are seeing already. It's even more simple than what you're seeing, isn't it? So you are seeing already. That's the very first validation that we all can agree on. It's foundation. So then there is this relative subject called the I, and the point of perception is in the center of your forehead. And then there is this complicated process of comparing, contrasting, filtering, liking, disliking, and so forth. Let's call it the filtering process or the processing process. But this processing is only according to the past, because even your ideas about the future are based on the past, isn't it? So even whatever you know about the future is based on the past. And somehow on the present, but still what you know from the past. So you're in the continuum, aren't you? You're in the continuum of the past and future. It's the river. It's the time. You are continuing. And that's why you're missing the simplicity of seeing now. Seeing now is not a continuum. It's happening always. It's not a stretched energy. It's not a line. It's not even a sphere. You're seeing boundlessly. So processing the process is the second step. And then there is all these objects, all those colors and shapes and forms and infinite variety of combinations of everything. The truth is obviously not there. These are just objects, forms, and shapes. If for a few moments you get synchronized and you get the glimpse of truth, well, it's still not out there. Maybe the reality did such a big job to try to synchronize you to get that glimpse even externally, but that's a big job for the reality, for the universe to do. So therefore your power lies not in arranging or waiting for external circumstances to synchronize. That's called waiting. Waiting for the happiness tomorrow. Tomorrow you wait for happiness tomorrow. So the power is not in waiting. If we examine, waiting is basically most of the time what you're doing is waiting. We can say that most of the time you're hoping and waiting. Can we make it a bit more efficient? Can we find it a bit quicker than hoping and waiting? So you see, I want you to illuminate. I want to illuminate you to see these processes. And these processes are even taken for granted. Most people don't even ask. What is the seeing? What's the origin of seeing? Who is this I? Is the happiness in external circumstances, in external brief synchronicities? Can happiness be much closer to you? What is happiness? So therefore I want you to see a bit clearer, a bit sharper. The seeing is not the problem because you already see. The problem is those habits. It is those habits, those patterns, those addictions, and lack of clarity to see that these are patterns, habits, addictions. So coming back to the fundamentals is that you are already aware of this environment, yourself, what's happening now. You're already seeing all of this in the now. You're seeing now. It's so simple but now give a moment to reflect how important this seeing is to you. And then give a moment to reflect what desire arises on top of it. How important is the simplicity of seeing? And then what desire arises? What do you want? And some people will say, oh, I just want to be not bothered by my thoughts. Well, fair enough. It's a relatively good desire. You know, it's a better desire than majority would choose. You know, I really invite you honestly to reflect. What desire arises? Or maybe it's not desire, maybe it's longing. Because you had maybe some years ago some amazing experience and now you want to repeat it. So you're longing for it. Like, my gosh, this one moment I had this glimpse of bliss and now I will spend 5 years looking for it. And I want to repeat it exactly as it was. You're on a big journey. And you're missing the point. You're missing your power here. Then most of you will say that I've seen this video with this teacher, guru, or whomever you admire, and I really liked, like, it must be like that. It must be like that. It must be this quality. You know, it must be this love. You know, it must be this huge love. And that's what I'm gonna look for. Or then you will see another guru and you say, oh, this guy is so intelligent. You know, he knows the universe from A to Z, bottom to top, and he can see through it. I want that intelligence. And then you will find another teacher and you will say, oh, this guy is mystical. It's like such a mystery. I love it. He can explain the mystery so well. I'm gonna look for that mystery. I can't figure it out in my head, but I'm gonna look for that mystery. Of course, mystery is not to be understood. So it must be mystery. And then you might find another teacher showing other set of qualities. Maybe he's very spontaneous, he has no kind of clear structure, and he likes to confuse, you know, to put you out of the box, you know. He says one day one thing, another day another thing, how amazing it is, he's not sticking with anything in particular, you know. That must be the way. And then when you will find, let's say, 20, 50, 100 teachers, you're gonna watch the videos and attend all these satsangs, I hope you're gonna start asking questions. So what is it all about? Is it about a personal admiration of someone? Oh, this guy is so cute, you know, he's like a father to me. Oh, I didn't have, like, my childhood wasn't so good, so yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this father equality. And then there's another guru, you know, woman teacher, and she's like a mother, you know, she's like a mother to everybody, and I need this motherly energy. But what are you really searching for? Admiration? Worship? Shall we build a statue and, you can just worship it? Buddha always said, don't build statues for me. It's not about the image. It's not about the form. It's not about the shape. And of course, what happened? Like look everywhere, Buddha statues are. And Jesus said, don't say my name without a good reason. And what happened in the West? I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna tell you what not to do, okay? So my question to you is what you're looking for and what is your desire? Isn't it a desire? Why don't you slow it down for a bit? Why don't you slow down for a bit? Why don't you slow down this desire? Searching is desire, basically. Looking for something, for what? It's desire. So the whole spiritual searching is a desire. It's a higher form of desire. It's a higher vibrational desire. Isn't it? It's a higher vibrational desire. Of course, it's good to choose a higher vibrational desire than a lower vibrational desire. That's a lot better. But why don't we slow down a bit? Why don't we recognize that from your simple seeing, you're searching, you're looking, you're going out to the world, to travel to India, to Asia, to US, wherever now they all are, You're going out externally. Or there is another process, you're going internally, and that's called spirituality, the inner search. So I don't want you to be the spiritual searchers. I want you to be the true finders. So I want you to be the true finders, not spiritual searchers, not seekers, not desirers. We're not building the army of desirers and worshippers of some idols, or worshipping some qualities. Huh? Look at some of those videos online and you will see that the majority of the troops and of all the people are up to something. They're putting their focus on something in specific, on a certain quality, on a certain idea. So they're admiring somebody, some personality, yes. Father personality, mother personality, some quality of love, or quality of intelligence, or quality of peace, So I want you to be the true finders, and it can be a big awakening, but it can be a very big awakening when you will start to see a clearer truth, what's really going on, what the masses are doing. Of of course, the 95% are sleeping, and the rest 5% are seeking to fulfill their desires, and only 1 or 2 are really looking for the truth here now. Even there you have to be careful. Are you really looking for the truth here now, or for fulfillment of desire? So as you can see, I'm putting the spiritual brakes. Hold on. From the 5th gear, let's go down to the 4th and 3rd and 2nd and 1st. Stop the desire, stop the searching, looking. And you may just find everything right here. So as we are slowing down, you might start to feel a certain feeling that things are cramping, that your enthusiasm of the seeking is now put on brakes, that now you're slowing down and now you can't go out that much, isn't it? So some energy is now slowing down here, and it feels a bit uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar fulfillment. Oh, I can't believe I'm finding this already. No, I'm used to looking, searching, seeking, going. Let's go. Let's continue. Become familiar with this uncomfortable slowing down. It's actually fulfillment. You're actually arriving. You're actually finding without knowing it, because your mind is always there. You know, your vision is always somewhere forward. And now if I will give one little exercise, it's just a 5-second exercise. Focus on nothing. And stay here. And allow yourself to become more accustomed to this feeling exactly like this. And whatever is coming now, it's good. It's needed. You need to push those brakes. It's very healthy. Not easy, but healthy. It's gonna save you decades. Years. Focus on nothing. Just be here. Allow your feelings, energies to be here. Give them some time to heal, to process. Focus on nothing, because you are already here. Only in the case if you would come to be overwhelmed with anxiousness, then you can stop this practice and take some rest. Because your mind might be quite afraid of this nothing. If it happens so, then you can slow down, take some rest, go back to your mind for a bit. So if you're focusing on nothing, then there is no one as well. But you are here. You are still here, you're still alive, you're still breathing somehow. You just don't know how it happens. You just stop knowing, stop understanding. So now you're reclaiming your power. You're not going out and losing your power. You're not on the inner search either. You're not losing the power there too. You're just here and you push the brakes. And that's what is here. These feelings, emotions, energies. Give it some time. No matter how uncomfortable it is, giving some time. Feel more space around those feelings, emotions, energies. Allow everything to soften, expand, give some space. There is more space around your feelings, your emotions, your energies. If your mind is racing somewhere, well, that's fine. It needs to slow down. And only if you feel overwhelmed with anxiousness, then you can come out of the practice, take it easy. Come to your balance, to your familiar place. And allow these feelings to resolve, to heal, to decondition. It's not easy, but it's healthy. Focus on nothing, because you are already here. If you drift into some space, come back here, recenter here. You don't need to go into any spaces, any dimensions, any places. It might not be easy to be here because there is a continuum. There are energies pulling you in. There might be thoughts or visions popping in, you're seeing. These are all side effects of healing process. Let them be, but they're part of the healing process. You don't need to try to stop yourself and to talk to yourself. Just come back here, focus on nothing, and see what comes up. What comes up is what requires your presence, requires to be healed, to be transcended. Focus on nothing because that is your home. You are here. You may not be very familiar with it yet. You may have spent decades in the mind home, and now it's the being home. You may have been accustomed to your stories, to your usual feelings and your usual behaviors. But now you arrived home, here. Don't go back into your usual, familiar. You already know it. Give a few moments to become familiar with being here, now. This home. This home of seeing. Nothing is only needed for you to stop, but essentially you see, even that nothing you see. Take a few moments to observe how so-called natural it is to go back into your focus. How so-called natural it is to come back and to listen to the mind, what comes up. How so-called natural it is to be you, who you know yourself to be. But that you, who you know yourself to be, is not all that you are. It is the body-mind. The body-mind habits, accumulated knowledge, your arrived conclusions, everything you take for granted, There is also a personality with likes and dislikes. On a manifestive level, it is fine too. You know, you are a male or female. You have your certain ways. You have certain particular qualities. And we simply want to overcome this process of a limited consciousness, of a limited perception. You will still remain male or female. What is natural truly to you will flower. If you are more peaceful in nature, it will become even more so easily, effortlessly. If you are more active in nature, you will still be so effortlessly. We simply need to remove this middleman, as it said. This middleman between the source supplier and the end user. Because there is a very big tax which you pay every moment. Actually 95–96% you pay to the middleman of every experience. You pay to this mystically familiar I. 96% of your every experience. And this middleman, this middle I, is not necessary. Yes, you can live without it. You can be free. But we need to realize that the middleman is the I. It's the process. It's claiming to be the subject, it's claiming to process everything, it's claiming to sort of know the objects, sort of know them. Kind of have learned not to touch the fire, you know, some basics about objects. Very limited knowledge. So this middle I is unnecessary. It's not actually needed. First of all, you're still here. It's obvious. Whether you think or not, you're still here. This is obvious evidence 1. Obvious evidence 2 is that you see the I inside you. The I arises, says, oh, I should do this. Well, you see that. And it says, oh, I should do that. Or any other idea pops into your mind. So obviously it's middleman. It's the middle I. Because you see it. So how come you have given all your power to that? You totally, absolutely believed in it. No questions asked. I am real. Give a few moments, a story will arise in your mind. Sometimes I refer to this as mass hypnosis. There is some truth in this. That all these mighty beings who you are have been hypnotized into the individual eyes. So coming back to full consciousness is the very first greatest thing that can happen to you, and it's the gradual or quick removal of that eye, depending how deeply you hang on it. And this eye will be persistent. Be sure of that. This eye will say, fine, I can let this moment be, but wait until tomorrow. We have a lot of things to discuss and do. I'll step aside for a moment, but I will make a new plot of how to sabotage tomorrow and show you who is the boss. If you think you can play with me, thus this eye is depicted as a wild tiger or as a wild horse in the Wild West. It surely takes a lot to put it in the right place and to realize that it was never needed actually in the first place. Even if you grow it as your puppy, this eye, it's still gonna bite you. So this eye usually goes through a process. First it totally controls, then it becomes more cooperative, then it becomes manageable, then it becomes, we could say, assistant. It starts to help you, just to make sure it's still there. I'm still helping you to understand these things, to protect you from dangers. Then it's gonna try to prove you that you can't live without it, that it must be there. Then again, it's gonna fight and resist because its survival will be at stake. Until lastly it can burn out, extinguish itself Because the seeing has always been here. It is here you are seeing now. So this I will be retired, will be realized as irrelevant, unnecessary, actually a troublemaker. And thus it can be retired and extinguished, burnt out. You shouldn't go into a holy war with the I. Because in a war there is always a winner and loser, but they're both are losers because they have been in the war. This is why Bhagavad Gita is a beautiful book, telling the story of this war. But this war was never necessary in the first place, because they were all cousins. They were all of the same family. So the truth within you needs to gain strength. Fighting is unnecessary. Gaining strength is necessary. Seeing through those games of the I is necessary. Therefore, you need to put your effort in the right place. Because there is 99% of things that you don't need to do. The searching, seeking, believing is unnecessary. Finding the truth here again and again and again is necessary. Growing in truth is necessary. Strengthening your seeing is necessary. Okay, now dedicate some time for questions if you have. Maybe you need a clarification of your experience as well.
You mentioned something, strengthening seeing. And I guess this I don't entirely understand. Because for me, seeing is simply revelation.
Now, do you see the need to understand right now?
No.
Do you see right now what is inside you right now? There is a certain unclarity, and that is necessary to be seen. Revelations will not come out of blue sky unless there is a certain cause, and therefore a relative effort is needed to see the processes, the process of unclarity, the process of this, that's a need to see.
For me, it seems effortless.
Right now it's still half relative. So the seeing is here, but even saying it's effortless you still need to strengthen that seeing. So it's the relative effort which is needed to counterbalance those processes, to always put your focus on what is here, what is arising now, what is arising now, what is here. Seeing in the absolute terms is absolutely effortless. That is correct. But then these processes rise, and if you don't keep an eye on them, they will continue. So only that effort is necessary, because that necessary effort then allows the seeing to reveal itself, as you said, or simply, as I say, to strengthen against those processes. So this process is relative until you come to absolute seeing, which is effortless. So that is correct. But to keep an eye on the processes is also necessary. And every moment to check what is arising, what is here.
If you understand what I mean.
Well, you are evidently a woman right now. You will still be a woman, of course. You are evidently quite peaceful. And that will be a lot easier. But don't focus on these qualities. What is natural to you will not require effort. Some people are more active naturally, which is totally fine. Some people are more, we could say, slower or peaceful naturally, which is also fine. Every one of you is uniquely like this. But you shouldn't pursue in the search of peace. You shouldn't pursue in the search of, the relative freedom. It depends on the person. So don't worry what is natural. What is natural will not require any effort. Just pay attention to what is not natural.
Yeah, so those are not like sattvic qualities that you need to focus on. It's beyond that. Yeah.
Yes, qualities are meant to be developed as well. Qualities are being developed. It's an evolutionary process. This is called living evolution, development, growth. But the truth is something else. It is here. It is shining through this body, which is growing, changing, evolving. And this truth is seeing this body. You are seeing this body, you're seeing questions arising, you're seeing yourself already. So when you come to the truth, to the full consciousness, everything will continue. Your body is gonna continue. Your qualities will grow and develop more in a much more easy way. You will fight less with yourself. You will not sabotage yourself. You will not judge yourself. You will not hate yourself. You will not harm yourself, either physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. Okay, question is?
You invited us to not to focus on nothing, and things arise.
I invited to focus on nothing. There's a difference. Not to focus on nothing.
Did I say no? You invited us to focus on nothing.
Nothing, yes.
One of the things that arises is emotion.
Yes. Emotion arises, yes. And let that be.
You invited us to give that emotion space and to let it heal.
Yes, precisely, yes. Because first you fully arrived here. You fully arrived here. And then there is emotion arising, feeling, energy arising. Because before you were in a continuum, you were not here. You were in the river, you were not here. Now you arrived here. You stepped out of the river of life. And there is suddenly arising what needs to be processed, what needs to be met. And to stay more here, you need to constantly meet what is here. Not in a continuum, not in the river, here.
So it will heal just by itself.
There is a way of healing. First, it's allowing what arises to be here. It is called emotional inquiry practice. So this allows to meet every feeling, every energy, every emotion. Because your thoughts will always actually point to some kind of feeling or energy. It's the only reason why thoughts arise, because there is some kind of energy that you're not meeting here. That's why you go to the surface of your thoughts, and that's why you think about something. When you're here and meeting everything which is here, there is no need for thoughts. So the way of meeting what is here, it's called emotional inquiry practice. That is the way of meeting emotions, feelings, and energies. And self-inquiry becomes quite obvious that you're focusing on nothing and that you're seeing the nothing. The I drops itself immediately. If you only start to go in emotion and getting lost in emotion, the I will arise, the thoughts will arise. So thus, with emotional inquiry practice, it becomes very easy to be here with what is, with what arises. And the I only arises because you're not here and you're not meeting what is here. And there are certain patterns, habits, addictions, conditionings, which have been ingrained over the years that keep the contraction of the I. The I, it doesn't exist. It's only an energetic contraction. and identification with energetic contraction. This is what the I is. Energetic contraction and identification with it. Holding that position. That's all what it is. So these terms of the mind or the ego are simplistic. They're for the simplified understanding. The ego is simply an energetic contraction and identification with it. That's what the ego is. When you think about the ego, you don't have any power against it. When you are here with what is and you see this point of contraction, well, there's a lot you can do. You disidentify. You let it go. You don't hold that position anymore, so there's no ego. It never existed. Only energetic contractions and identifications with certain positions. Okay, any more questions? Mm-hmm.
Like right now, this I is still like screaming and telling me that it is not true.
Good. Just be with this feeling. Yeah, there is a feeling. Maybe it's the feeling of disillusionment. So it's screaming, oh my God, I can't believe it. I've been doing this all my life. It's called disillusionment. Disidentifying from that place. So it can scream. And it's okay.
Agitated impatience.
Oh yes.
Passing all day.
Here we go.
Has the satsang bites.
Yes.
And emotional inquiry, I think, is not the game plan for this agitated impatience. I don't know. If you can assist me. Explosion, explosive. But I'm just going to get dinner now. You know what I mean? I just can't wait to. I have nothing move to the next.
You see how the
tomorrow.
Yes.
Don't be too hard to me right now because I want you to tell me just later or tomorrow.
Yes.
I am so. I'm on fire and my brain is just buzzing over.
Yes. It's so hard, but it's healthy. And this is how the I does not want to be here. It's like a tiger in a cage. Let me out.
Which eye? The mind eye or the true eye?
The mind eye, yes. The mind eye. This resistance, frustration, agitation. It just can't be here.
I'm frustrated now. I just want to name how impatient I'm. I'm not frustrated. I'll have a good satsang in the future.
No, yes. So.
Oh, I just want to name it. It's just has the whole satsang.
Yes. The worst satsang ever, but the healthiest ever as well.
Trust you. I'm not. You got me giggling on that one. Okay.
Even that is okay. If something like explodes and fires and you just can't be here at all, it's also okay. This is how the I comes up. This is how these energies come up. And yes, you will need a lot of strength to process them. And today you did your best.